Hello viewers, how are you doing? My name is Ukela Prince and I'm thrilled to have you today one more time here at the Talk Your Own show. And I've been running this series with Carlos Morgan. You all know him. And, talking about how, to advocate and also to promote the black music, industry in Canada. And quite a lot that Carlos has been bringing to the fold, and I'm sure that a lot of you are already sending your comments and views, and you some controversial, some how are you doing, my brother man?
Good,
Look at you.
I know,
come on, man. That's a great man. Carlos Morgan.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, Carlos, today we have something very, quick and spot on to just look at, and that's the area of lack of live music venues for black artists and musicians.
Yes.
Can you describe the current landscape of live music venues for black artists and musicians in Canada? What challenges do you or do they face in accessing these spaces?
Well, there's not a lot of there are not a lot of live venue places to go to hear black musicians well, I can't speak for all of Canada, but where we are in the GTA, there are not a lot of venues to go and hear black music. Back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, there was a lot.
So something is missing.
Big time. But I think part of it is the demand. I think a part of it is economics. There are venues that you can go to hear live music, but you're not going to see a lot of, you might hear black music, but you're not going to see a lot of black musicians playing black music, that's for sure, in where we are, in the GTA. And again, just to go and hear black music in the city, again, there's not a lot of venues. So it's very difficult to go out and hear live music.
So how do you think the lack of live music venues, specifically catering to black artists and musicians, how do you think it affects their ability to build a fan base, to gain exposure, and also to succeed in the industry?
That's a good question. And there are ways around it. I know a lot of musicians who say, what, there aren't a lot of venues. So the venues that there are, we just have to build our own, produce our own shows, and then go to the venues, or we rent spaces and do live performances. Later in the year, God willing, I'm going to be doing a tour of my new album.
Interesting.
And I'm not going to do it in the clubs. I don't want to be in clubs anymore. I want to do them in theaters. So, but for new musicians or up-and-coming musicians who are looking for opportunities to play live, there are a few places to go and play in the city. It's just a matter of accessing them, and finding out, if they allow, or if they have, or if they'll allow black music and black musicians to come in there and play, which more than likely they will.
Now, do you think
hopefully
systemic racism and bias plays a role in the scarcity of live music venues for black artists?
I think it does, but not to the extent as, not to the extent where, you can access more. Let me put it like this. You can access or go and hear and see black musicians live than you'll hear them on the radio or see them in other spaces. And again, but when you're going to hear black music or black musicians in Canada, the majority of times what you're going to hear them playing are cover songs. You're not going to hear them playing their original music. So the upside is you can find a few places to go and hear live music, but the downside of that is you're not going to hear them playing a lot of their original material. That's why when I talk to young and up and coming artists, I'm like, okay, you know what? Do your cover songs, but do songs of your own, because people want to start hearing your own voice. They want to start hearing your music. We all know these other artists, right? But who are you? We want to hear you. So, you know.
So originality is key.
That's what I think. That's what I think. It's not like it used to be. Back in the 80s, 90s, you want to hear the songs that are popular on the radio. Now, it's like, okay, we know all these songs. We want to hear something fresh. We want to hear something that's not been heard before. We want to hear you. That's me anyways. I want to hear like, what, you know, okay, we know Drake, we know Usher, we know Chris Brown, we know so-and-so and so-and-so and so. Okay, I heard that song on the radio. I just heard the song coming inside. Now I'm hearing it live. No, I want to hear you.
You.
Right? So that's what we need to get in. We need to drill in the heads of these musicians. But part of it comes from the older generation because we have not set the example.
That's where I'm going though. That is a missing link.
Yeah.
And that needs to be merged and corrected.
Correct.
For there to be a smooth flow.
Right.
But
right.
I am sure that, you know, the musicians of this generation, the Gen Zs and all that, because of, you know, quite a lot of things they actually involved from, you know, childhood. So they are taking no for an answer.
Right.
I can at least beat my chest and say that.
Yes.
You know, so anyway, let's go on a little break. Yeah. Welcome back, viewers, and I'm still here with the legendary.
That's right.
Carlos Morgan.
That's right, the legend.
The legend himself. Man, Carlos, how can we create more inclusive and equitable life music ecosystems that provide opportunities for black artists and musicians to thrive?
How can we create more of an equitable or more ecosystem? That's a great question. You know, for me, again, to repeat myself or to reiterate again, is looking at, say, take the Americans who created a template and then taking aspects of what they created and bringing it here. So if an ecosystem includes creating our own live venues, creating programs, again, economically, pooling our resources together and creating, if it's corporations, foundations, entities, organizations, that when it comes to live, because for example, I think in America they have, and I think they had it here in Canada, but they're no longer around, but I think in America they had organizations where in each city you have a black music organization that is like they're like an organization that helps musicians with funding for live shows, funding to get to record music, funding for education. We need to set up something like that here, where we have, you know, something where, okay, for live music, we need more live music venues so that we can focus on black music and up and coming black music. When I was coming up, there were about 3 or 4 venues in Toronto that I can go to where you had the established artists performing, but then they'd have a night where it's going to be like, okay, new and up and coming talent in the city, there's a live band, you come out and perform with a live band, and there's an audience. I don't think they really have those things anymore. I think there's one place, and it's sold out all the time, but what they're doing cover songs, right? So again, if we're talking an ecosystem, we need to create the ecosystem, and that comes down to finances, resources, and just doing it all on our own.
What's the action point on this? Because we said there's a missing link. What's the action point? Looking ahead, what's your vision for a more vibrant and inclusive live music scene in Canada? Well,
for me, the inclusivity comes down to inclusivity of building all genres of black music and what's needed to build and support and sustain and maintain a black music industry in this country, so that all black musicians from all genres of black music can benefit from. So, and that's going to take that's going to take a team, that's going to take a village of people to put it together.
So, permit me to put it to you.
Okay.
That your generation, you're almost feeling Us.
No, it's true. You're right. I agree with you. We have failed. We have failed. I was talking to a couple of musicians that I work with, and I said, you know what? What they're going through now, where there's lack of opportunities and equity for them. I told them, I said, listen, when I was coming up in the 70s and 80s, I knew musicians that were going through what we're going through now in the 60s. So nothing's changed or barely changed in 60 years, in 70 years. So I feel bad because I'm like, what did we do? And then when I talk to other musicians, I say, listen, that's the problem with black music in this country. We don't support each other, but it's like that across the board. In the black community, we don't support each other in the black community.
Would you like to tell me what practical things we would need to do? I would love to have you on that in the next episode.
Okay.
Those are the practical steps that need to be taken.
Okay.
Because you have identified this. You talked about those in the 60s. From the 70s, you saw it. Mm-hmm. Those within that generation, we're looking at it, and there is a gap, there's a lacuna here, and nothing is being done. Mm-hmm. So I want you to tell us, tell our viewers, tell the young black artists that are watching you, who want to be something, who want to make a mark and leave a mark, who want to create great impact in this nation and beyond.
Yeah.
What we need to do. How do we bridge this gap?
Yes.
That's what I will take you on in the next episode.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Carlos. Okay. That's my brother, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys. See you. That's our show for today, man.